Hey everybody, my name is Farha Tarig, and I'll just share a few tips about how I prepared for the FMGE. I graduated from Zhengzhou University, China in 2018, that's July 2018, and I scored 208 in the FMGE held in December 2018. As far as the correct approach to study for the FMGE, I'd say that doing the theory and the MCQs simultaneously is the best way, because this ensures that you are actively using your knowledge by solving the MCQs, and you also get to know where you have any gaps in your knowledge, and then you can just fill them. So you get to know where you're weak and then how to strengthen those areas. So definitely do both together. Do the theory and MCQs. Don't wait for you so that you just finish your entire theory and then just sit and solve only MCQs. That in most cases does not work and takes too much time. Doing both together ensures the best results. At least that's what I found. As for when the preparation should be started, ideally it should be started 1 or 2 years before you're giving the exam. And I say that you need like 1 or 2 years so you build solid concepts and you have like a good knowledge base and a good foundation, because that's also going to help you with your PG exams and any other exam you're going to attempt in the future, not just for the FMGE. So ideally 1 or 2 years before the exam. As for the books I studied for each subject, I list all of them. For anatomy, I did Vishram Singh. For histo-embryo, Inder Bir Singh. For physiology, Gangnam and Gaitan for certain topics. For biochem, I mostly use Satya Narayana. For pathology, I used the review by Sparsh Gupta and Gobind Rai Garg. And another book I used is Golian. For pharmacology, again, same, Sparsh Gupta and Gobind Rai Garg review. For microimmuno, I used a foreign author. It's called Made Ridiculously Simple. Microbiome Made Ridiculously Simple, and it was one of those, because microbiome was a tough subject for me, that book was one of those books that helped me retain all the information, most of the information that's required in microbiome. So that book. And I also use Lange, especially for the immuno and general microbiology part. For PSM, I use Vivek Jain. Internal medicine, Mudit Khanna. Pediatrics, Arvind Arora. Obsgyne, Sakshi Arora. Surgery, Manipal, and a book by a foreign author, a review by a foreign author, Dr. Ali Hasib. For ENT, again Sakshi Arora. For ophthalmo, I used the review by A.K. Khurana, and I used his textbook for difficult concepts as well. And for FMT, I used R.K. Sharma. Orthopedics, Maheshwari. Radiology, Sumer Seth's book. For dermatology, I used a review mostly that was called Dermatology Made Easy. And for psychiatry, I mostly used Kaplan notes with the videos, and I also referred to Neeraj Ahuja's textbook for psychiatry. These were all the books I referred to for studying. Bear in mind that I also referred to like for pathology, I also referred to Harsh Mohan and Robbins, like all the main textbooks. But in the last 2 years, just before the exam, the last 1 year, I used only these books. And in the last 5 months before the exam, I used Rome's and FMGE solutions to solve like MCQs and just for a quick revision. This was actually my first time attempting the FMGE. I have not attempted the FMGE before. How big is the role of practice and revision? Practice and revision is critical. From the day you begin your preparation, you have to allocate a certain part of your time daily to review what you've studied previously, or else you'll just forget it and then there'd be no use studying it. And just a little every day, it goes a long way at the end, to help you retain information. And during the last 2 months, just before the exam, I'd recommend you to just revise. Just only revise. Do not try to learn anything new. Do not try to learn any new concepts. You'll just get stressed out and you might not retain a lot. Did I use a study plan or a timetable? I did use a study plan. I think you have to use a study plan if you want to keep track of yourself and keep track of time and know how much time you need per subject. I'd also recommend that you follow your own study plan, like your own custom-made plan, and do not just rely on a ready-made plan that someone else made it, because only you know how much of each subject you've studied and how strong you are in those subjects. So only you can allocate, certain amounts of time per subject. The hardest subjects for me were biochem, pharmacology, and PSM. And that was not because the concepts in these subjects were difficult. I understood the concepts, but there's so much memorization involved in these subjects that it was very tedious for me to go over and review everything again and again. So those were definitely my least favorite subjects. And the easiest ones for me were actually pathology and FMT, mostly because I found those two the most interesting. So those were by far the easiest ones for me. One mistake that everyone must avoid while preparing for the FMGE is the first thing: never be afraid to solve MCQs and attempt the mock exams. Usually we end up thinking that we're not prepared enough, and I don't want to solve the MCQ till I'm prepared, and I don't want to solve mock tests till I'm really, really prepared. You'll never be completely prepared, and there's no way you're going to remember everything, so just accept that. And you're bound to make mistakes. Just learn from those mistakes and don't get discouraged. It's very easy to get discouraged seeing like a bad score on a mock test. Don't let that discourage you, and just learn from it. Another mistake is belittling the importance of concepts. Medicine is not just about learning a bunch of facts, it's also about concepts. And I think it's very, very important to know those concepts. And even if you have to spend a little longer on a certain topic, just do it and spend that time, because in the long run that will definitely help you. Your concept in that subject will definitely help you. And any last tips for the upcoming FMG aspirants? First thing, again, I'll really focus on this, is that concept-based study. The second thing I advise you is to not put too much pressure on yourself, because you're just going to stress yourself out and you will not perform, and you will not be able to study to the best of your ability. The third thing is solve as many MCQs as you can from wherever you can. If you need to subscribe to, you don't need like free app. There are a lot of free apps out there that just give you a lot of MCQs to solve. Do as many as you can. And when you are giving the exam, on the day of the exam, please try to relax and do not get too worked up. If you don't know a question, just calm down and go to the next one. You can review that again. I highly recommend being very, very calm, because I was actually very nervous during the exam and I lost a few points because of it. So my one important tip on the day of the exam is, please don't be nervous and just try your best. And one more thing, I would say that in the months leading up to the exam, start taking weekly mock tests. Aim for one mock test a week in the beginning, and then bump it up to 2 mock tests per week, and try to get your score a little bit higher every time. Like make it a goal that your score has to be higher in the next mock test. And by the end, you will have solved a mock test, and do the mock test the way it is done in the exam. Just do it at one time, do the entire test without reading the answers, and then you can come back and check the answers at the end. So this will help you prepare yourself for sitting on one day, sitting and doing the whole thing on the day of the exam. It will be easier on that day, and you will be more confident because you've solved so many questions already. So that's all I'd like to share with the upcoming FMGE aspirants. I really wish everyone the best, and I really hope you all make it through on your next attempts.